Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about following the process it has taken for me to make my first ever costume. And so I will chuck up the plan here. So the plan was, my sister is a teacher and everybody knows Book Week is a pretty big deal for dressing up in your favourite character. So I have made her a Fairy Godmother outfit from Cinderella. And I've never made a costume before, so should be right. Yeah, let's do this. Rightio, so here's the fabric that I'm going to be using. I've got basic plain cotton, two different kinds of blues, a pink and then a pink satin. I've just got to use my trusty old rotary cutter, some chalk, my ruler. I've also got a measuring tape, some matching thread and a long zip for the dress. And these are my vintage patterns that I'm going to be hacking. So for this costume, I've decided to use the bodice of one pattern, and then I'm going to hack that and splice that with the waistband and the skirt of the pinafore pattern. First up, I'll be working on the dress part of the costume. So as I'm laying down, I'm measuring the pattern pieces just to double check that my measurements will fit the plan, and I'm gonna cut all my pieces out, and once I've got them all cut out, it's time to begin with the bodice. So I'm just doing the darts and measuring, marking, pinning, and then I will hop on over to the sewing machine and follow the line I drew to get a nice straight dart line. Don't forget to tie the dart off on the inside of your bodice, and then I'm just going to attach the side backs. And sew them together, and this is what I've got so far. As you can see, I am constantly checking my measurements just to make sure that they're gonna fit, because I don't have my sister with me to actually model the piece. So there was a bit of a weird dangly bit there, so that didn't worry me. I just chopped that off on both armholes. It's going to be essentially like the top of a pinafore anyway. So the next step is, I've decided I'm going to add the waistband, but I was going to line it, so 2 layers, just so that it would make a nice finish, seam finish, when the bodice attaches to the skirt. That was my plan from the start anyway, but you'll see further in that I ran into some trouble. Okay, so I've pinned down the waistband and I'm going to carefully attach it to the bodice now. And okay, here is what the bodice looks like now, and you'll see that I've ironed the bottom of the waistband under, because my plan is to tuck the skirt in there just to enclose the seam so it looks pretty. I'm just mentally or visually trying to make a plan here as to how it's going to work, because the vintage pattern I'm using for the skirt section doesn't have the zip incorporated into the pattern, so I've got to plan for that and readjust my plan. One skirt piece is going to get cut in half, so those will be the two side pieces or the two back pieces, and then there's going to be one big one in the middle. You can see me planning here now. The pockets will go down the side seams. Yep, making sense. And then it'll get gathered up and attached nicely up in there like that in the waistband. That's the plan, so let's do it. First things first though, we've got to chuck those side seam pockets in, so I'm just going to mark where I want them to be, pin them in, and then sew them down and overlock them with a nice overlocking seam for the edge. Sewing in some pockets, because pockets are essential. Do you like my new song? Anyways, always add pockets to your dresses. Moral of the story. I'm going to sew a gathering stitch on the top of the skirt. There is a buttload of fabric to gather, and yes, a buttload is a legitimate form of measurement, I think. At least in my world it is. And then pin it down, like hardcore pin it down, because you don't want that baby to move. So just a quick update of the process. I got a bit stuck the other day, last night, when I was doing some work on the dress, and I realised once I had it all sewn and attached together that it was not going to fit in the waist section, and that I needed to make the bodice longer. So I've done that on either side, and I'll show you what my fix is. It might not be pretty, but it is a costume that she's going to wear once, and I just want it to look good and fit nicely. So I'll spin you around and I'll show you the plan. Alrighty, so this is what it looks like now. So I've attached the skirt and to the bodice, and I've laid it flat and remeasured to double check my measurements to see if it will fit before I put the zipper on, and I just needed a little bit more ease on the sides, so this is my fix. I've cut the same amount on either side, sewed that down. I'm going to unpick this panel and move this along on that side, and then unpick this panel, skirt, and move it along on that side. So then, and then I should be able to start doing the finishing pieces for this dress. Okay, so after another buttload of unpicking, this is my fix. This is what it looks like at the moment. So now I'm going to start adding the zipper. This is just the way that I do my zippers, but there is obviously a heap of different ways of how to do it. So just insert zippers however you like. Ta-da! Zipper in. So this is what it looks like now. It's coming together pretty nicely. Next up, what am I going to do next? I'm clipping my threads. It's riveting stuff. Alrighty. So to finish the bodice of this one with the straps, I'm going to go around it with a white binding. You can also do facing, but I hate facing with a passion, so I'm going to do some binding. And now it's time to pin them down. Anyone else notice that my voiceovers are getting weirder and weirder? I'm not ashamed of it. I think only like 2 people watch my videos anyway. Okay, so attach your binding. Ta-da, da-da-da-da. That's what it looks like now. So I chose the white binding so it matched with the white zipper. And final touch for this dress part of the costume is to overlock the bottom and hem it up. And I'm just going to give it a little bit of an iron just so it sits nice and flat. The binding, that is. And probably the bottom hem. I don't know, just wait and see. Here's the dress part, finished and ready now for the bit that I've been waiting for, to start working on the capelet hood thingy. So I actually had a pattern. I found a pattern online that looked pretty good and I kept trying to get it. The pattern maker was supposed to email it for free. It's a free one. And it just was never coming to my email, and I got over it and I decided to just copy the hood of one of my jumpers, and yeah, that's what I did. So I didn't actually use a pattern for this. I just winged it because that's my favorite thing to do. And I just kind of studied the images from the pattern that I did originally want, just to suss out what kind of shapes I needed to cut out before I sewed it all together. Look, it worked. It worked. And alright, so now I'm just trying to cut out the hood section. So I'm laying it flat and using my cardigan hood thingy as a pattern, and I'm just going to trace around it, add a bit of seam allowance, you know, the usual, and that is how I made that pattern up. Work faster. Sorry about the view of my hair. Oh yeah, and I laid the top part of the cape, like the rounded edge where the hood attached to the cape part, just so I could work out how wide the hood section needed to be to match up when I sewed it. It all makes sense in the end. It looks like a mess at the moment, I think. Actually, no. I'm gonna be positive. It looks like I know what I'm doing. I'm also going to lay the blue piece that I cut out for the cape, I'm going to call it a hood, over the satin, the pink satin, so I can cut the lining out. And then also I'm going to cut a hood lining as well. And I've never actually used satin before, but it wasn't as terrifying as I thought it would be. So what I did was I basically sewed 2 separate hoods or cloaks, and then to join them together I sewed around all the edge except for the bottom, pulled it out, flipped it right side out. This is me testing it out. So I'm trying it on to see if it works and where it sits, and it's looking good. Yeah, it's looking good. Okay, we're on to the final finishing touches for this costume, which is very exciting. I needed to cut out 2 long rectangle strips out of the pink satin, and then I sewed them down the long side, overlocked them as well, and pulled them the right way out. Then I unpicked a small section on the front of the hood and slipped them in there like a little sandwich, them in there, pinned them down, and then I sewed them in by top stitching them down, and that's how I added that tie. Easy peasy. Finally, I folded down the bottom hem, pinned it, and top stitched down the bottom and then all the way around the edge of the hood. And this is what it looks like. Now that I am finished, this is what it turned out like. That's it, done. So a little bit of a review, self-review, I suppose you call it. All in all, I'm happy with how it turned out. It was cool, like it was cool, yeah. The only thing is, in the end, when I sent it to my sister, because she wasn't here for me to actually fit it on her properly, I had to just rely on the measurements that I got of her, or I did of her, before we were in lockdown. And for some reason I questioned my measuring while I was halfway through making it and decided it was going to be too small and made it bigger, and in fact apparently I didn't need to do that. And so Lauren had to, in order to make it fit, Lauren had to get safety pins and safety pin it up so that it wasn't too big. So when we get out of lockdown, and next time she's up, I will actually get her to try it on and look at it in real life. When we get out of lockdown, I'm going to fix it for her so it's small, like it fits her properly. But the hood, she said the hood was good. It was just the dress that was a little bit too big. So that's my job for next time, which is fine, you know. We all question ourselves, and I don't know why I decided that I was going to make it too small for her. Anyways, she made it work. She wore it for a day during book week the other week, and I'll fix it up again so she can actually wear it another time for another book related event. She's an English teacher, so there'll be plenty, you know. I don't know, they read a lot, don't they? In summary, it was pretty good. It was fun. It was actually fun to make. I've never made a hood before, and it was really fun to make. And let me know what you think. Like, subscribe. If you enjoy this kind of content, come follow me over on Instagram. I do a lot of stuff. A lot of making stuff. talking to myself, you know, the usual. Quite serious. Can't be my friend. Alright, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.